Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train, coming to you live from some. Wait, pay no attention to the man behind the green curtain. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. On tonight's show, we are covering another double dose of conferences, Missouri Valley Conference as well as the Northeast Conference, as me and two of the best in the business continue our journey across the college basketball landscape this preseason. My name is NJ Heinrich. I am the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. You can follow me on X at Dr. William Cannon, and if you want to, you can follow me anywhere your little heart desires. It is time for Eric the Blue. He is the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. You can find him in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. That's Eric Romoff. What's happening?
What's happening? That clock is ticking ever louder. We're like 62, 63 days away, something like that. Can't believe it is around the corner. And as such, we are chugging on with our conference previews, and we still have plenty of content heading your way. We've got our top 20 countdown coming. Make sure that you are subscribed and have that notification bell on for that. We're also going to try to sneak in a few more interviews, a couple of coaches, a couple of reporters, helping you get the inside dish on your favorite programs from around the country. So make sure you stay tuned here. The season will be here before we know it.
You know who else will be here before we know it? He is last in the intros, but he is first in our hearts. El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. You can find that man on X at MCHolland34. Give him a follow. The OG Money Mike, that is Mike Holland. What did it do, baby?
That is the most excitement you have ever had to introduce me. I think it's because we are nearing 60 days to college basketball season, winding down on these double feature previews, the mid-majors. We've been touring the country. Check out those previous shows. We only got 4 or 5 more left, and then we'll be going into the power conferences and breaking those down individually. So yeah, I'm excited. Home stretch is here. I am going to update my top 300 big board. A guy from Army, Jalen Rucker, a guard, was one of the final 2 remaining, decided to go back to Army. So now there is one player left. So check out the update tomorrow. I'll get that out there. And hopefully we can wrap that thing up and move into the season. I'm just looking at rosters and trying to figure out what's going to happen this year.
It's closer than you think. We're going to wake up one day before we know it, and it's just going to be here. College football is kicked off, so you know that college basketball is right around the corner. So make sure you smash those like and subscribe buttons, turn on your notification bells, and follow these 3 accounts on X or in those Twitter streets like our guy Eric says. Also, make sure you follow at One and Done CBB, all spelled out, One and Done CBB, as well as at Get Green Screens, which is the Green Screens Media X page. X gonna give it to you. Sorry, I had to do it. All right, it's one of those days, boys and girls. We are doing some Missouri Valley, a conference that I really, really loved to pay some attention to because there was so much excitement revolving around this conference, such good basketball being played. So let's wait no longer and get on to that Missouri Valley Conference 12-team league. Last year, Bradley won the regular season title with a 16-4 record in the conference, edging out Drake and our guy, Coach DeVries. However, in the conference tournament, like we've seen a few times already in our previews, boys, where one team will win the regular season title and beat, like, you know, a Drake like this, you know, and then the second place team finds a way to win the conference tournament, and that's what Drake did, earning that number 12 seed in the Big Dance. It was a team that we thought we wanted to go very, very far in the tournament until we saw their draw, and it was Miami, and we knew that was bad news bears there. And, of course, Miami ended up going to the Final Four. So as a conference, the Missouri Valley is ranked 16th, according to Ken Palm's rankings, with 3 teams in the top 100, Bradley, Drake, and Illinois State. As we always do, let's start off with some headlines and our guy, Eric the Blue. What should we know about the Missouri Valley?
I mean, I think you really hit the nail on the head, right? Like this conference was an absolute blast to watch last year. Final week of the regular season, really came down to 4 or 5 teams that were, neck and neck all the way through the stretch run. And this is a league that loves shooting the three, right? So anytime that you have, a pile of teams that can make it rain from deep, like no lead is safe. We can find these crazy comebacks and these Cinderella stories. And that's a lot of what the MVC has been for us in recent years. The 2 teams that played for an NCAA bid in the conference tournament, that would be the eventual champion Drake facing off against Bradley. These were 2 squads that were top 2 in defensive efficiency. So, while they like to fill it up from range, this could be the case where defense is going to win the day in this conference, and it'll be fun to watch, right? Like, keep an eye on those defensive metrics as the season progresses. Maybe that'll be a bit of an indicator as to which team or teams have the inside track to come up and win the league overall. And at least looking back to a few years ago, a lot of coaching transition in this league, right? But now only one team, Valparaiso, comes in with a new coach. So, with these, newer coaches in general, a lot of them are going to have to figure out, which chess moves to make, which pieces to play where, and it should be fun to watch them all come together.
The quality of basketball in this conference will definitely not be worse. It's only going to be better than it was last year, like you said, with the holdovers of the coaches, familiarity with some of these players. And some of those players, let's talk about them right now in a new segment we're bringing to you on One and Done. Tonight, we're going to bring you the A-list of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Gonna roll out that red carpet?
Is this the red carpet? Oh, yeah. You get the little step and repeat. We got all that stuff,
360.
Y'all ever been to an event where they have one of those step and repeats like that, where you walk and that gets, oh, hey, Mike, right here, Mike. Here we are, and then you just stare.
It looked just like this. It looked just like this in the dreams.
Very similar to that right there. Oh, the red carpet. Let's see who that first player coming down the runway is. Tucker DeVries, to no surprise here. The 6'7", 210-pound forward from Drake. Oh, maybe Tucker was a little shy there to come out on the red carpet, and he ran back in. He got to get back in the limo maybe or something like that. But 18.5 points, 5.7 boards, shot 37% from 3 last season. This is somebody we talked to Coach DeVries 2 seasons ago when his son was coming in as a freshman. Was that right, or was it? Either way,
yeah, 2 seasons ago.
It was 2 seasons ago, right? And now he's going into his 3rd season. There he is, back on the red carpet. Yeah, he had to make sure he was wearing the right clothes. Right there. Like, here we go, right there. So, who are you wearing tonight, Tucker? Oh, that's Adidas. That's great. But Mike, obviously Coach DeVries' boy here, a coach's son, and we joke around about that sometimes, but he's a literal coach's son. And he's done some major damage his first 2 years in the college game.
Yeah, conference freshman of the year, newcomer of the year to conference player of the year in back-to-back seasons. So I would say that is a pretty good transition there from his freshman to sophomore years, now entering his upperclassman seasons here. I mean, he's just such a versatile weapon, has an inside and outside game. I just think, can he become a better facilitator? A lot of this offense is going to go through him this year. There are not, there are not a ton of returning guys for Drake, so even more is going to be put on his shoulders, it feels like. So, I'm looking for Tucker to, really just try to build on, making his teammates better, because we know that he's someone that can go out and get, 20 to 25 a night, it feels like, especially, at the mid-major level. So Looking forward to seeing, how he progresses in other parts of his game, because we know he's a stud and he's the reigning player of the year, obviously, in this conference.
If he can average 4 dimes a game, sheesh. I mean, like he's already just such a great scorer of the basketball. A player that does get it done in more than one way now coming down the red carpet is Donovan Clay, guard from Missouri State, 6'8", 230. Man, that's a big old hoss right there at guard. I love to see that. 12 points, 5.5 boards, 3.5 dimes too. A very, very unique guard at his size there.
Yeah, to say the least, right? Like that size obviously jumps off the page, and it really stands out on the court. This is a big, strong, versatile player that can do a lot of things for Missouri State. I'm looking for him to take a pretty considerable step forward. I mean, he's too gifted. Combine that with his athleticism, with his size, and overall, you mentioned the nearly 4 dimes, real solid vision, real soft touch, versatile defensively, right? He can switch, he can do a lot of things. Just one of those players that gives you a lot of optionality in your team overall. So really excited to see what Clay can do this season.
Absolutely. As Clay now makes his way into the theater for the awards ceremony here, another star coming down the red carpet here. Bowen Born, the guard from Northern Iowa, 5'11", 170. A little bit different makeup than our friend Donovan Clay there. But Born gets it done. Silky smooth lefty here, Mike, averaged over 17 points and almost 3 assists per game last season, and shot a very respectable 37% from 3.
Hey, man, great mid-range game for this kid. He's also got the 3-point stroke, which you just alluded to, with the 37% from range. He is an absolute nightmare on the pick and roll, so he's going to do a lot of damage this year. And he's not afraid to get to the line and get into the paint. So Northern Iowa, man, like they really know how to develop their players. Bowen is someone that's not afraid to go get his own shot. Can he challenge for a 20-point per game year? I don't know that he necessarily needs to do that. Feels like if he can maybe kind of up that assist game, while staying kind of where he's at on his scoring average, continue to get to the line. I feel like he's got a pretty big upside for the year ahead.
Bowen heading on in now. And now, who's next coming out? Who's getting out of the limo now coming down the red carpet here? It looks like Cade Tyson, the forward from Belmont, 6'7", 200, 13.5 points, 4.5 boards, and a fantastic 42% from 3 last season. A tremendous freshman season he had, Eric. He's the brother of former Clemson forward Hunter Tyson. That might ring a bell for everybody there, Eric. But just a great freshman year for Tyson.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about. You invoked the name of his brother Hunter, and I mean there are a lot of things about Cade's game that really mirror what we've seen from Hunter. Real solid feel for the game, very good athlete overall. It kind of begs the question, given the pedigree there and obviously the revisionist history, we can look at his fantastic freshman campaign and say that, this is a very quality player. It begs the question why there weren't more high majors interested in him. But ultimately, he's here with Belmont. The arrow is pointing up. He's got a lot of momentum headed into the upcoming year. And look, he's going to have some stiff competition with Hunter DeVries, but he's got the type of talent to where he'll at least be, in the conversation for player of the year type honors.
Hunter Tyson probably not liking what's going on right now live with the football team of his alma mater, but Cade Tyson at Belmont obviously looking to take another step forward as a sophomore. We need a little versatility on the red carpet. Where's the Lady Gaga dressed in the meat? Who's bringing the heat here? With maybe somebody that can chip and somebody that can dip here coming down the red carpet. Who do we have? Yes, absolutely. Malevy Leons, the forward from Bradley, definitely fits this. Somebody that does a little bit of everything and does it well. 6'9", 210-pound forward from Bradley, as I mentioned. 11 points, 6 boards, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks. Oh, Mike, it's the old Duncan Dutchman.
He is the Dunking Dutchman. I love that nickname. We got to get an all nickname team going for you as well. So I'm sure that's definitely going to make the A-list for that. He's a former JUCO Player of the Year, and man, 3 stocks per game, right? And there's upside here. He's an absolute force on the defensive end. There's really not much he can't do on the floor. Still growing his game offensively. It feels like with Rink Mask on, we're going to see him featured a little bit more offensively. So, he had some scoring pedigree in the JUCO ranks. Man, I'm expecting a massive stat line from him this year. So I'm excited to see what he's going to get done.
Thanks to all of the stars, the A-listers of the Missouri Valley for stopping by our red carpet segment today on One and Done. Definitely nice to see some of the, maybe the pillars of this conference really showcased here on One and Done. And now, boys and girls hanging out with us tonight, leave us a comment if you like those players or if there's somebody that you missed, or just to say hey. But also, leave us a comment if you want us to go back to the tiers, the famous tiers of One and Done. So before, right, we had the A-listers, right, and now the tiers. That was the party, and now we're going after the party is the after party, as they say at Club One and Done. So for our tiers tonight in Club One and Done, these teams are either going to be in VIP. They'll be in the club. That's that mid-range. They got in, right? Or they'll be in line at the door, just waiting in line, trying to get in. So let's see. Oh, there we go right there. VIP, in the club, at the door. Man, sounds like a party I'd like to get into. So, Mike, why don't you tell us where those Belmont Bruins are going to be? They got to be – are they VIP or no?
Ooh, we just got done talking about Cade Tyson, very dynamic forward. They were 14-6 last year. They're just very young, so I got to put them just in the club, just old enough to get in and get on the dance floor. They got a very solid down transfer in Malik Dia from Vanderbilt, but they're probably a year away. 10 underclassmen, so probably got the stamp on their hand. They're in the club, but they could do some damage here, especially with Tyson, leading the way here. But probably 1 year away.
10 underclassmen. Those are the ones that actually are still knowing how to have some fun. Those might be. I might want to be hanging out with Belmont at Club One and Done. But maybe we can bring them a bottle. We can throw them a bottle from VIP or something right there. I feel like they're close. I know they're young, Mike, but I feel like they're close right there on the edge. Eric, how about those Bradley Braves? Where are they going to be? Are they going to be in VIP? I rolled a VIP. What? Or are they going to be in the club or at the door?
Man, so Bradley Braves 16-4 last season. They're going to be all the way up in that VIP. Yes, Rank Mast is gone out the door. We talked about Malevy Leons in the spotlights and the A-listers a moment ago. Real nice two-way piece for them. They also got a couple of guards. They got Connor Hickman, who played significant minutes for them last year. They've got Duke Dean, who averaged nearly 10 points for them. So definitely feels like they've got a lot of pieces to work with, and that has a lot to do with Coach Wardle. He's built a solid program and a very solid roster. So I expect to see them near the top of the league this season.
Duke Dean. I like that name a lot. The best names don't always have to be crazy, like Duke Dean. That's a solid one right
there. Little alliteration.
Yeah, I love it. It's Duke Dean. Yeah, I like the little double D. Anyways, moving it does pop, 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 pop. Drake Bulldogs here, Mike. I got a feeling I know where these guys are going to be hanging out, but you tell us, where are those Bulldogs hanging out? In the club.
Absolutely. VIP, my friend.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Look, this team lost a lot, but it starts with Tucker DeVries. I mean, such a good player, obviously Conference Player of the Year for a reason. But, hey, a surprise here. Big man Darnell Brody, Jay, one of your favorite players, using the extra year and took a nice little leap last year. But the thing about it is outside of those two, you're going to rely on some key transfers. Now, they got a very, very good transfer class. Kyron Gibson from UT Arlington, Anton Wright from CSU Northridge, and Ethan Roberts from Army. They're also going to bring in four 3-star recruits, which is pretty significant for the MVC. They also have forward Carlos Rosario spinning down here from Washington State. So just a reload job here. And I expect them to challenge early and often for this league crown again.
Coach DeVries is just, this is what you're going to expect, right? Like, this is what you're going to get on a year in and year out basis. He's adjusting with the times. Not okay. He's true to the building the program, but being able to adjust and bring in these transfers and just keep it rolling for the Bulldogs. They'll be right there at the top again this year, understandably so in the VIP. All right, every time I feel like we do these tiers, I end up talking about the teams that are in the dumpster or at the door in the rain or whatever sort of thing. And that's where Evansville is going to end up here for us. Those Purple Aces are not seeing aces. They're seeing deuces because they're at the door in this conference, not getting into Club One and Done. Obviously, there's really nowhere to go but up. They only won one game last season. So, okay. Kenny Strawbridge, very good player. And their guard there. Chuck Bailey, 4-star recruit. Like those, okay, got maybe some freshman talent, promising. What can they do? Strawbridge, Bailey, is that going to be a 1-2 punch for the Purple Aces? Feels like they'll take a step forward this year. I don't anticipate them hanging around that 1-win mark again out of 20 conference games, but still a team that would be well under 500. Another team that finished under 500 last season, Mike, is the Illinois State Redbirds. What are they doing for the after party? Where will they be?
Ooh, man. Well, I got them in the club this year. 4 guys returning that average 27-plus minutes. That is significant. That also includes guard Darius Buford. He averaged 13 points per game. They also got a down transfer. The name may sound familiar. Wisconsin's Jordan Davis. Yes, the younger brother of Johnny Davis. They also got a transfer from Monmouth, and their best player, forward Miles Foster. He averaged nearly 13 and 7. So I'm expecting a little bit of an uptick here in wins in this league, but maybe not enough to, on the dance floor, but not enough to get the sparkling bottles brought over to the table.
There you go. Respect for the Redbirds. They're a little respect for the Redbirds. And I know somebody that's go in the club. All right, Indiana State Sycamores, Eric, tell us about them.
Yeah, so it is bottles full of bub as the Sycamores are in the club, 13 and 7 last year. Look, their big 3 are gone, including Pasta, Cavassier, and McCauley, but they've managed to really reload this roster. They bring in some solid transfers. They got someone coming in from Southern Indiana, Isaiah Swoop, averaged a ton of usage for that team last year. And overall, these rebuild jobs, they need to be taken with a grain of salt. It can take a little bit of time for these guys to gel and figure out what roles they're going to play. But ultimately, it feels like Indiana State has a ton of upside in their roster. And if they can get things clicking sooner rather than later, I think that they might have their arrow pointing up towards that VIP.
Everybody singing now. Pastor Cavassier. All right, I had to. I couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. Yeah, definitely Indiana State, a team with a high of a ceiling as anybody in the conference. How about Missouri State, Mike? 12 and 8 in the conference last season. When you look at a team like Missouri State and the experience that they're bringing back, Mike, that probably will play a part in where you're going to rank these guys.
Yeah, and I got them VIP. 10 guys returning from this team that won 12 conference games last year. 3 of these guys average basically double digits or better, and they're all in the backcourt, including Clay, who was on that A-list from earlier. Also love the Xavier down transfer, Cesar Edwards here, and then another 3-star joining the MVC, Tyler Bay. Going to create a solid front court for these Bears. Coach Ford's entering his 6th year with the program. He's really got them in a nice spot. I got them in the VIP. It's tough when you look at Bradley and Drake up there, but I feel like these guys are going to give it a real solid challenge.
It's interesting because This is a team that, even though they do have a lot of people returning, just the 3 players that average 10 or better, and I get it that it's the guards, right? But what's going to happen here with the front court? Are they going to be able to put this together, or are the guards going to have to carry them all season? I think for me, that will determine whether Missouri State can truly be in that top tier, or if they end up just in the club with the Murray State Racers, who I'm going to talk about next. Who will just be hanging out. They'll be in the club. They might be over by the DJ booth, like shouting out requests, play that new Drake, like not Drake University, Drizzy Drake, but, the Racers will definitely be in the club with Rob Perry, the guard, returning after averaging over 14 points per game last season, joined by guard Jacoby Wood, who is their absolute floor general that rarely comes off the court. You love to see that. And he averaged almost 5 dimes a game, that constant facilitator that is so important, such an important role to have on a team. But after that, there's some question marks, which kind of, for me, caps their upside a little bit, which, again, this could be a team that could challenge for that VIP, for that top tier, but just too many question marks for me to make that little statement there up in the VIP, as our guy Eric said earlier. So we'll put the Racers in the mid-tier in the club right now. Let's go right back to Mike for those Northern Iowa Panthers.
Let's do it. I was actually on this campus within the last year. So, yeah, beautiful campus. I got them going from 9-11 to VIP status, 9 guys returning. Get them up there on that top shelf. 5 of these returning players played 28 or more minutes. We talked about Bowen Born, but there's 3 other guys here that are real solid players. Nathan Heisey, a former on the former MVC freshman team a few years ago. Tyler Anderson's a really good player. Michael Duax, who averaged 10+ points per game. And Coach Ben Jacobs, man, he is a stalwart in this conference, entering year 18, and another great chance here for him to make some noise and I don't want to say steal this bid, because I feel like when you look at the roster, man, like these guys, they're looking like they're going to be a major problem. So looking forward to you and I here.
Eric, how about those Salukis of Southern Illinois? 14-6 in the conference last season. That makes me feel like they should be near the top of this conference. Where do you feel like Southern Illinois fits?
Near the top is a good way to put it. Unlike Mike, like we have to talk about teams that aren't going to be in the VIP. So I'm going to put the Salukis in the club. Like you mentioned, 14-6 last year. Brian Mullins has done a real fantastic job with this program and with this roster. He's heading into year 5. The thing that probably keeps them out of that VIP section on the wrong side of that velvet rope is it's hard to find some real game breakers as you look up and down this roster, right? Like solid top to bottom. I don't think anybody's going to want to see the Salukis. They're going to give teams a run every single time that they're out there. But, I don't know where that pop is that can kind of get them over the top, right? Maybe someone like a Xavier Johnson or a Clarence Rupert can take that step forward, but we haven't seen that out of their games yet. Even if they don't, this team is going to give the other teams here in the MVC headaches all season long. It's just whether or not they have enough and guys can take that step forward to get them to the next level.
2 more here in the Missouri Valley Conference tiers here in Club 1 and done, either VIP into club or at the door. Mike, where will Illinois Chicago Flames be chilling in the after party?
You know what, Eric, talking all that noise and all I do is talk about the VIP teams. Man, these guys are towards the back of the line here at the door. So, breaking my streak here. This team, it was not very efficient offensively. They played some solid defense, which obviously helps. But if you can't throw the ball into the ocean, as Jay likes to say, it can be tough to win games. Look, there's 6 newcomers on this squad. I like Toby Okani. Had a real nice year. He's a wing for them. I just don't know, man. Like, this is a very, very good conference with a lot of star power coming back, a lot of great coaches. And I just think they're still at the door and needing a little bit more development, some more time. So maybe a next year in the club scenario.
Hanging out with the Flames outside, hopefully with an umbrella if it's raining, is Valparaiso, our last team here to put into the tiers. They will be at the door. 5-15 in the conference last season, 0 seniors, lost Ben Cricky to Iowa, 5 freshmen on this squad for new head coach Roger Powell. This is going to be a long one. Patience is a virtue, Beacon fans. So, with that being said, at Club One and Done at the after party, after that red carpet that we rolled out there for the A-listers, the tiers for the Missouri Valley in the VIP, Bradley Drake, Missouri State, Northern Iowa. In the club, Belmont, Illinois State, Indiana State, Murray State, and Southern Illinois. And at the door, waiting to get in with their friend that is wearing the probably
Don't do it.
No, Evansville, Illinois, Chicago, and Valpo hanging out down there at the bottom. Make sure if you're hanging out with us and we see you hanging out with us there in the lobby, we know you're hanging out. We appreciate you for being here. Make sure you say something in the comments. Just say what's up. Doesn't really matter. Just say, hey, hi. Say, hey, I just watched Clemson lose to Duke. That's something. If you were watching the game and you're just joining us live now, first of all, welcome. Hanging out here on One and Done tonight. We just talked about the Missouri Valley. My name is Jay Heinrich. I got 2 of the best in the business with me here doing it. Mike Holland and Eric the Blue, Eric Romoff. We got one more conference to go tonight, but before we get to that, make sure you do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. Smash those like and subscribe buttons. Turn on those notification bells. And be sure you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage leading up to this season. A few more mid-major shows to go before we get to those power conference previews. Make sure you don't miss anything. We're covering them all, including tonight, finishing up with the Northeast Conference, the NEC, as we shall refer to it moving forward, a 9-team league. Last year, the regular season champ was Merrimack, who went 12-4 in the conference. In the conference tournament, Merrimack beat Fairleigh Dickinson, but of course, because of one of the worst, most idiotic rules in the NBA, and I said it then and I'll say it now, Merrimack won the conference tournament but was not eligible to get the berth from to the Big Dance from the conference because they hadn't been in the conference long enough. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it, but it actually kind of turned out pretty cool, boy. Fairleigh Dickinson gets that 16 seed and, of course, goes on to beat number 1 seed Purdue because that's college sports, guys and gals. That's what happens. Of course, the second number 1 seed to ever lose to a 16 seed. This was the worst conference in college basketball last year, boys, according to Ken Palm's metrics. Basically, just everything before the independence, like, not great, but of course they got that conference tournament win. So Eric, let's go to you as we always do for some headlines here for the NEC. I mean, I think we saw the ceiling, right? Like a tournament victory, but what should we look at for this conference?
Man, so a lot to be desired looking at the metrics of this conference, but I might be the most pumped for these headlines specifically, right? We get to play the hits. I get to talk about Fairleigh Dickinson going up there and bouncing Purdue in the first round. Jay, you get to talk about and bemoan how much you hate that transition rule and how Merrimack should have been in there because they won the conference tournament, but they didn't make their way in on a technicality. So obviously those are the 2 big storylines coming out of this conference. But one thing to keep in mind, there is a whole crop of sophomore, of second-year head coaches in this conference that, you know, are building something in their programs, right? You got guys like Rod Strickland, Chris Cross, Donald Copeland, right? You know, these are guys that are all heading into year 2 and seem to be kind of starting to put the pieces together. So we'll keep an eye on LIU, on Stonehill, and on Wagner, see if they can keep that momentum going. And overall, I mean, kind of nowhere to go but up. But this conference managed to retain a lot of its most talented players from last year, right? So, these are guys, these are programs that, broadly across the country might not be the most popular or well-known names, but on the whole, the conference should be stronger, right? Will they move into the top 25? Probably not, right? But I do think there's reason for optimism in terms of the direction that the conference is heading overall.
Yes, that Rod Strickland, if you are a hoop head like we are, leading LIU there. This is not one that many people are spending much time talking about, but here on One and Done, we're talking about every conference. And not only are we just talking about the NEC here, but we're going to give you some old hidden treasures. Matey, we got the treasures. Who's going to be the treasures of the NEC? Who's it going to be? So, with that, I feel like we should have like some sound effects to hide, like ocean waves, and, like the seagulls.
Hey. Got some treasure chests.
Treasure chests, hidden treasures of the NEC here. Why don't we open up that first box and see who the first treasure is going to be? Oh, there it goes. Open it up. And who do we have there? Kellen Amos, guard from Central Connecticut, 6'7", 190 pounds, 14 points, 3.5 boards. Right there on that 3-point percentage line for me at 35.5. I'm sorry, at 35%, Mike. So, Amos, definitely a treasure here for Central Connecticut, Mike.
Yeah, he found some opportunity after transferring from Bingham last year. Really managed to increase his, his output. Obviously, major minutes involved here. He's just got great length for his position, ability to rebound from his position, and he's heading into his senior year as a leader of this team. So he also, you look at the turnover ratio, like for the amount of minutes that he put up this past year. He really took care of the ball, so you love that combination. And so I'm expecting, another leap forward this year in his final year, and I'm excited about his upside.
Absolutely, no doubt about it, man. Amos is a certain kind of treasure there, that somebody that is sort of, I don't know if his ceiling's very much higher than this. We may see this, but he's definitely a treasure nonetheless. Let's see what this other, the second treasure chest is here. Who do we have popping up here? Yes, of course, Ansley Almonor, forward from the aforementioned Fairleigh Dickinson squad, 6'6", 220 pounds. A key piece on that Cinderella run, Eric, from that team last year, coming back after averaging 13.5 points, just under 5 boards, 38% from three, and shot it well from the charity stripe, too, at 86%.
Yeah, he did. And, that beloved Cinderella run that I will continue to beat into the ground, he was a huge part of that. And I think that, the path is cleared for him to be a huge part of what Fairleigh Dickinson does in the upcoming season, right? He's entering his junior season for the team. Feels like he's really a force to be reckoned with for them overall. A lot of guys heading out the door with this program in particular, so plenty of usage for him to sop up. It seems like he should be able to step up and seize the opportunity. And you mentioned some of his shooting stats, right? 38% from range, 86% from the line. That is going to do just fine for someone of his size. I mean, this is someone in Almonor that could challenge for Player of the Year honors, right? So definitely a fun name to keep an eye on.
They're very solid. It's in consideration. Definitely.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, Ansley Almonor definitely in the running for name of the conference there for sure. Another great name here coming up in this treasure chest here in the NEC. Nico Galette right there. And guard / forward, they'll do a little bit of everything there for Sacred Heart. 6'6", 210, 15.5 points, 7.6 boards, and 1.6 steals. Mike, from a production standpoint, you can make an argument, man, that this is the best returning player in the conference.
Yeah, you can make an argument for sure. He's been very steady the last couple of years, all NEC last year. A little down last year for his three-point shooting and his rebounding, but he went up in points, steals, and blocks. So you like that on the defensive end. He's very crafty, but he's also tough. Man, like it's kind of tough to project Conference Player of the Year, preseason Conference Player of the Year. I got to think he's one of the favorites, if not the favorite. Just a very versatile player. And, if you happen to catch some Sacred Heart games, he is going to jump off the page. He's outstanding on both ends of the floor.
No doubt about it. Fourth treasure chest here, the NEC looking for some hidden treasures, some gems here. Who do we have here? Yes, Max Zagorowski, Stonehill forward, 6'8", 205, 12.5 points. Excuse me, I'm trying to cut this man short. 12.6 points, 4.2 boards, 42% from three. Ooh, that's silky. And 88% from the charity stripe, Eric. A guy from Stonehill here, a very nice transition after 4 years at the D2 level.
Yeah, I mean, clearly 4 years playing in D2, my guy was not shy about getting to the gym because he can absolutely stroke it. He now gets that extra year and is maybe one of the most versatile bigs in the entire league, right? 6'8", 205 is solid size, but those shooting stats really jump off the page. So, I mean, he's a name to watch, right? Like, clearly he's doing a lot on the offensive end. 4.2 boards per game, maybe want to see a little bit more there on the defensive side for him to really hit his ceiling. But ultimately, really cool story to follow, right? Down in the D2 ranks for 4 years, gets his opportunity at Stonehill, answers the call, and it feels like he's got a lot of momentum to build on heading into this season.
Speaking of momentum here, our last hidden treasure here in the NEC, guard from Long Island, Andre Washington, 5'11", 180 pounds, 11.5 points, 2.5 dimes, 1.5 steals, 87% from the charity stripe as well. A huge leap in usage, Mike, and when that usage rate goes up, so does your responsibility on your team, but he really held his own in his sophomore year.
Yeah, and he did that after missing 10 games due to injury. So with the efficiency, wasn't great at times, but he really flashed potential, and he had a nice year. And now he gets a full offseason with Rod Strickland, who obviously played in the league for a while. And, with that experience that he got, there's a lot of upside. We keep using that term. I mean, these guys, we did the breaking doors down segment, the other night, and same thing here, man. Like, these guys are probably a little more, seasoned and have some, stats under their belt, but there's some good players in this league. I'm just ready for some of these guys to shine, and who knows, like we saw last year, right? We saw Jordan Minor and the Merrimack team. Jordan Minor's headed off to Virginia this offseason, and we saw what Fairleigh Dickinson did. So, the conference metrics and all that, right? But what happens in the big spots, and I'm just looking forward to this conference and how it shakes out and what they're going to do with whoever they send to the tournament again.
Yeah, it's definitely a conference that those metrics are tough, right? Somebody's got to finish last. But there are some talented players in this conference for sure. And you can see some of those hidden treasures right there on your screen hanging out with us tonight on our NEC preview show, as well as the Missouri Valley. If you're just jumping in with us live right now, we covered the Missouri Valley a little bit earlier. Make sure you hang out with us now and then go back and watch the beginning of the show and then share it with your hoop heads in your life. Do all that stuff. Smash those like and subscribe buttons. We've got all the treasure now. We've opened up. We've got all the Bucci. We've got all the treasure. Arg. And now we're heading over to the club. Club one and done. Maybe grab some drinks, the bottle service, with those sparklers. You know how they do that when they bring it over to you. And then they get over there and they do the little choreographed dance, and then Mark Matson shows up.
Mark Matson's doing bottle service now? All right.
Yeah. He is at Club One and Done.
He brings it out.
He is at Club One and Done, which is where we're ending up right now to talk about the tiers for the NEC. Of course, heading back to the old and tried and true 3 levels here, as we like to do on One and Done. Again, our top tier tonight, the VIP, that mid-tier in the club. They at least made it in the door, which is more than we could say for the bottom tier who is still waiting at the door. Let's get right into it here at Club One and Done and these tiers. Mike, we'll start with you with the Central Connecticut Blue Devils.
The old Blue Devils of Central Connecticut. I got them in the club. Kellen Amos averaged 14 points per game. We just spotlighted him as a hidden treasure, but they've also got 9 guys returning. It's also comprised of 9 upperclassmen, so there's some ceiling here. But went 7-9 last year. Fairfield transfer guard Alan Jean Rose. He's a nice addition. They're flirting with VIP status. One of y'all may have chosen them to get up to that VIP status, but I don't know, man. Maybe Eric's comment earlier is just really sticking with me. So I'm sorry, Central Connecticut. Could have been VIP status, but he says I put too many people in that section, just filling it up. So you can blame Eric for that one. But I got him in the club right now with some upside.
We blame Eric for everything else. We might as well blame him for that too. So those Blue Devils, not the Blue Devils that, again, I can't believe we're talking about. This is football season, and the Duke beating Clemson. These Blue Devils here, those Central Connecticut Blue Devils, will also not let you down, just like apparently those Duke Blue Devils on the football field. What is happening in my life? What is life? Anyways, just like Fairleigh Dickinson was saying, after they didn't earn that big dance berth, after they didn't actually win, but they made it there anyway. Not that I'm bitter, Eric. Where are you putting them?
So I'm going to do my best Mike impression. I'm going to take them all the way upstairs for the bottle service. They're in the VIP for me. 10-6 last year. Didn't win the conference tournament. Still made the big dance. Won a first-round game against the number 1 overall seed. We've talked about that enough. All of that winning, all of that fantastic storyline allowed Coach Tobin Anderson to parlay that into an opportunity to backfill Rick Pitino at Iona. So big shoes to fill there. Also leaves Fairleigh Dickinson filling shoes at their head coaching spot. We've got first-time D1 head coach Jack Castleberry coming in, and credit to him, he's managed to keep this roster pretty well intact, right? We talked about Almonor on the spotlight a moment ago. We've also got guys like Joe Munden Jr. These are guys that played big roles for them last year. They're back again this year, and while Fairleigh Dickinson didn't technically win their way out of the conference, they clearly feel like they are in the top tier in the league this year.
I'll allow it. They did do their part and win the game. Okay, that's fine. They can hang out in VIP in Club One and Done. I'll allow it this time. Who I will not allow in the VIP, though, is those pesky Moyne Dolphins. Yes, that's right. The Moyne Dolphins. Welcome to the big show, Dolphins. They're going to be at the door. Very limited experience at the D1 level on this roster. Jumping up here. Kayeem Cleary. I mean, that's a name that you might know from Ball State. He transferred in from Ball State. Jamel Melvin, Northern Colorado. They're coming to Lemoyne looking for an opportunity, gonna get to play some D1 basketball. But Lemoyne joining D1 here from D2, they will be at the door. You got to earn your keep. And if you do earn your keep by winning the conference tournament, you should get the berth to the big dance. Sorry, I'll let me stop. All right, put them at the door. Mike, get me out of here. Save me, please, by talking about the Long Island Sharks.
Long Island, the Sharks. I got them in the club, man. 1-15 last year, so definitely we're last in line. But I got them in this year. It was a rough year, but we have Andre Washington coming back, and Coach Strickland, bringing in his sons, Ty from Georgia Southern and Terrell from James Madison. So got his sons. It's gonna be a family affair in the club. 5 true freshmen coming in. So it's, maybe a stretch that they're going to make this big leap. But I just believe in, kind of the roster building that he's been able to do. And then Andre Washington, I feel like he's going to really take that next step forward. And that's definitely going to get them in the club and on the dance flow.
More now than ever, I'm buying into coaches bringing their sons into their programs. We're seeing it in all sports. We saw Dion's boy playing quarterback, and Colorado just got a big win. Why not bring in your boys if you're an all NBA guard in Rod Strickland for those Sharks? I like it in the club. I want to hang out with Rod anyway. I feel like that'd be a good time. Merrimack Warriors, Eric, are they in VIP, in the club, or hanging at the door?
Man, despite technically winning the conference tournament last year, I'm going to put them in the club for this season. Look, the big thing to consider, 12-4 last year, obviously won the tournament, but they got a lot of talent heading out the door, right? Losing a conference player of the year in Jordan Minor. He's heading off to Virginia. Ziggy Reed, another player that played good minutes for them. These are guys that is going to take some time to, try to recuperate and replace. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I do believe in Coach Joe Gallo entering year 5. I think, he'll really get the most out of this roster. He'll find the players that can step up and fill the void. Some of those players could be guys like Jordan McCoy or Jordan Durkak. They feel like they have the skill set and the profile to be the ones to step up. Whether or not they can do it in 1 year's time is kind of the open question, and that's what has them sitting in the club for me.
Minor leaving definitely leaves a window open for one of those hidden treasures to take over the reins there and grab that Conference Player of the Year accolade there. One of those players is Nico Galette, like we talked about for Sacred Heart. We're going to put them in the VIP, and a lot of that for me is because of the play of Galette. 5 guys returning that played 26 minutes and maybe a little bit more, even more than 26 minutes, including 3 that averaged 10 points a game or more. A lot of more here that I'm saying for Sacred Heart, but trying to drive this point home, I guess. Plenty of returning minutes and scoring. Nico Galette, like I said, does have a chance to be a Conference Player of the Year type player after averaging 15.5 points and 6.7 boards last year. 10 upperclassmen. Here's the experience, boys. Put them in that VIP, those Sacred Heart pioneers. Living large, as they should be. 3 more left here. 1 for each of your favorite college basketball broskies. St. Francis, Red Flash, Mike. What are they doing at Club One and Done?
9-7 last year from the PA. I got them at the door. I just feel like this is a rebuild for Coach Krimmel. 7 freshmen, 5 sophomores. Jay, you stole all my upperclassmen with the last team. Definitely playing for the future here, so just at the door.
2 more here. Stonehill Skyhawks, Eric. A team, I could see them one of those top 2 tiers. I could see them going either way. Where do you have them?
They are going all the way up, heading upstairs to the VIP. 10-6 last year, so looking to improve on that in the upcoming season. We talked about Max Zagorowski in our Spotlight segment. I've also got VMI transfer Tony Felder coming in. These are 2 guys that can really end up being a pretty dynamic pairing when it's all said and done. Last season, this was a team that was first in the conference in effective field goal rate on the defensive side. So definitely like their ability to keep games competitive and close. Also last year, 361st in all of D1 in terms of experience. So we're definitely getting a lot done with some fairly young guys. Now those guys are by and large back and another year older, another year of experience under their belt. Feels like they should be able to continue building in the right direction.
Last year, the Wagner Seahawks, another team with a ton of experience and 9 upperclassmen. They went 8-8 in the conference last season, and they will be right in the thick of things in the club, right there in the mid-tier. Coach Copeland's teams play with extreme defensive intensity. And like I mentioned, those 9 upperclassmen will all rotate in and play a little bit. Tayron Allen transferring in from Monmouth. Solid pairing with Raheem Moore for these Seahawks. Just enough to get them in the door and in the club. So for the NEC, our tiers in the club 1 and done, the VIP, Fairleigh Dickinson, Sacred Heart, and Stonehill. In the club, we have Central Connecticut, Long Island, Merrimack, St. Francis, PA, and, of course, those Wagner Seahawks. And at the door, those poor Dolphins. Welcome to the show, though, Lemoyne, and then St. Francis. Oh, wait, hold on. We got them in there twice. What do we got there? We got no St. Francis in the club. Sorry. Oh, man, I can't believe I gave him that false hope. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We do have, we have St. Francis at the door, right where they should be on your screen right there. We're seeing it. They did not get in, and they won't all season. Sorry, can't do it. Not happening. That's it. About it. Missouri Valley and the Northeast Conference tonight. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. This is what it's all about, leading up to the conference basketball season. Real quick, boys. Mike, anything you wanted to say before we close out the show?
How excited are you for the MVC? It's going to be another fun year, and hopefully you guys learned something about the NEC. There are some hidden treasures. Hope you enjoy the segments. We're bringing these to you. It's a lot of fun to do, and looking forward to keeping it going. Going to be back a couple more times, I think, this week.
Treasure, that is what you are. You're my shining star. Yeah, we're definitely going to be back a couple more times this week. Probably Thursday, it's looking like, and maybe one weekend show as well. Keep your eyes and ears peeled. Eric, what do you got to shut this thing down?
I mean, we are fastly approaching the end of our mid-major conference previews. And look, we haven't pulled any punches, right? There are some leagues and some teams that are pretty clearly lacking. But what I will say is, if past is prologue, a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches are going to be the splashy transfers and the splashy hires coming up in next offseason, right? So definitely makes a lot of sense to keep our eye on what's happening in the mid-majors. And if nothing else, each one of them has their own personality, their own special brand of basketball. So fun to watch. Definitely will be a more informed hoop head by paying attention to all of these mid-majors when it's all said and done.
No doubt about it. I am the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media Train. My name is Jay Heinrich. Follow me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow Eric the Blue, the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. That's Eric Romoff. He is in the Twitter streets at FantasyNav. And, of course, El Capitan himself, the captain of that Green Screens Media ship, the OG Money Mike. That's Mike Holland. Find him on X at MC Holland 34. Find the show at One and Done CBB, all spelled out. Find at Get Green Screens. Find our guy at The Real Napier, who, if you were paying attention, as when the show popped in, he somehow find a way to push himself on air. Don't know what happened there. But right in the middle of the thing, Jumbotron Jim messing with us again. But we got there, and we appreciate you getting there with us, as always, hanging out with us on One and Done. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Get to drroto.com for all your fantasy football needs, your college basketball needs, Mike's Top 300. Follow One and Done. Like and subscribe. You already know what to do. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a nice day, and let's get this bread, baby.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.